Well, guys, let's go to the definitions of rape. Rape is defined from the Section 1 of the Sexual Offence Act 2003. First of all, when a person found guilty of rape, what are the elements that we should consider? First, when he intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person with his penis. The second is when the B does not consent to the penetration. B does not consent to the penetration means the one that do not want to do the sexual touch. And third is A does not reasonably believe that B consent. The third part where A does not believe that B consent. For example, B is a guilty. A is the victim. B is a victim. A is a guilty. Okay? So if B is a victim, for example, B you can consider the most happening cases is a moumita, Dr. Moumita. Okay, so then we have 3. A does not reasonably believe that B consents. For example, Sandra Roy does not reasonably believe that B consents, that Dr. Mimita consents. Whether a belief is reasonable by regarding all circumstances, all Section 75 and Section 76 apply to an offense. Now let's go to the offense that can be in 4 elements. The offense can be broken into 4 elements. The first element is penetration with penis. So it means that penetrate can only be done with a penis. It has not tell us about the toy, about something else. The victim did not consent. The penetration was intentional. Defendant did not reasonably believe about the consent. So what is telling to us about these things? The penetration with penis, it is the actions, the actus reus. This is the things that can be done. So let's see. Okay, now we will see the penetrations and the actus reus of the vagina's anus mouth. Rape is a crime that can only be committed by men. Practically, it's always committed by men, as we know. Okay? So it is evident that the crime can also be penetrated against a man. There may happen rape against a man because penetrations of the mouth or anus. Okay? If you are going to penetrate someone through the mouth or anus, you can penetrate anyone. But it should not be an animal, or it always should be a human being, whether a child or anyone, whether a doctor. We have the famous case, as we always talk, whether it's always should be a human being. Okay, so that is, it's also important that to know that penetration considered as that. I will explain you later. A man can be penetrated, but a man can face rape. But rape can only be done with a man, not a woman. With an exceptional, I will talk later. But according to the Court of Appeal, ejaculation, without ejaculations, if a man penetrate and does not ejaculate, this will consider as rape, because one can refer to the previous law under Section 44 of the Sexual Offence Act 1996. I won't mention 2003, I will say 1996, which mentioned that it is not necessary to prove that, okay, why I tell you that? Because this was a section of all. Then we have our new section 2003, which later amended with new laws. But that sections tell us that it is not necessary to prove completion of intercourse. Okay, it's not necessary to prove the completion of intercourse that will be considered as rape. You should understand that even though you have not ejaculated, this could be considered as rape, because when you penetrate a mouth or anus. It's not necessary to ejaculate. So I'm going to explain you on the fact of this. Now we will go to see the rest, the other part, because we have penetrations of the vagina, anus and mouth. Okay? So I will talk about of the vagina, then I will later talk about the anus and the mouth. I will explain you, and of course I will give you a case law that can support our actions, our thing that we are going to do. Now let's see to the concept of vagina, anus, of mouth. Okay, by the concept of anal rape in 1994 was introduced. Okay, this was introduced by the section 142 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order. Okay, so Act, this was come from the 1994. Okay, this was introduced, and also in 2003, because we have amended it, we will take the previous law to continue it. We won't change the law. Okay, those vagina, anus or mouth could be considered as would be considered the main part of the body. Okay, of course it is a main part of the body, and we know that if, however, you penetrate someone, okay, you penetrate it through the mouth or vagina or through their anus, this will be considered as rape, because according to the law, vagina was construed in the sense of female genitalia. I will talk later into this, was from a famous case. So once of all, I'm explaining you the bit of what is happening through these things. Okay, I'm going to explain you the penetrations, the accessory use, the elements. Later we will find out the other thing. Later we will find the cases, the other part. I will say the mens rea, the accessory use, the mens rea, the consent, anything. Now I'm talking only about accessory use. Please guys, if you want to have more videos on that, subscribe and like for part 2, because this is a part 1 videos. I'm not going to extend my video more than 10 minutes or whatever. I'm going to make it short so that you easily can understand. I want you to like and subscribe my video so that you're able to get the part 2. And I promise you I will give you a question how to answer it according to Iraq. And also I will talk about the case of Dr. Debnat, of the Dr. Moumita, what is happening with her, and we will discuss with what has happening according to our learning, whether it is a rape, whether it is a gang rape, whatever it is. We will learn more about that. I hope you understand my way of explaining to you. Please go back and subscribe to